Hello and welcome to Power Sports Strategy. I'm David Archibald, and today in my customer spotlight, I have Mr. Cuong Dang. He is the CEO of Forbes Vietnam. He's an entrepreneur, an investor, and author, and he will give us insight today on listening to the customer's needs while buying a motorcycle. Here's my interview with Cuong Dang. Hi, Cuong. How's it going?
Hey, David. Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We're here in Ho Chi Minh City. We're about 10 kilometers apart, but this is the best we can do with the circumstances here in Vietnam right now. Obviously, the pandemic is going crazy, but we're still here and we're still working. I wanted to have a quick chat with you and talk about things, but first, let everybody know who you are.
It's great. Yep. I share the same thoughts with you. We consider ourselves to be more fortunate than others. Even then, during this pandemic, we are under semi-lockdown now. I guess first day after a long period of social distancing. Anyway, we feel very fortunate to be able to be safe and at home and working still. So quick introduction. My name is Cuong Dang, and for the listeners out there, I am the current CEO of Forbes Vietnam. And my background is I'm a technologist. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, spending 18 years in America in software development, dabbling in different industries here and there in logistics, mobility. And then at the moment, I am in media. So venturing into media, running Forbes Vietnam. It's exciting.
Yes. You know, you've always been a pretty amazing guy with a risk taker, and that's, I guess, at the heart of an entrepreneur. Bringing in enterprise rent-a-car to Vietnam. I know you've done several other things in the past. Tell me, who has been very influential in your life?
I guess the first person comes to mind is my father. My dad, of course, I love my mom as well, but they both taught me different things. So from a professional perspective, my dad has been preaching all his life about knowledge is power and trust is everything. I've learned tremendously from him. He's an entrepreneur at heart, went through the war and became a person that do many different things. But he came to learn that knowledge, no one can steal it from you. You can have that for the rest of your life, and it shouldn't be saving so much money for something else, but rather than education, whether it's going to school or learning from people, or even us talking about learning from each other. So the other thing is, in business, trust is everything, everywhere. The US, Vietnam, Europe, everywhere. Once you break your trust, you will lose everything because every single business community is very small. Yes. Motorsports or agriculture or finance and banking, any city we go, that's the number one rule in life. So he's been significantly influential in my life in those two aspects.
That's awesome. So your dad, he pushed you for education, and I think that's one of the best things any parent can do for their child. That's awesome. Who else is influential in your life?
I think the one that has been carrying through the years with me since college day was Richard Branson.
Okay.
So he's a true entrepreneur.
No doubt.
I have tremendous respect for him and what he's been doing with Virgin Galactic and talking about space travel is very inspiring. Although there's critics and different perspectives, there's two things that I've learned from him, which reflected in my background that I don't have a lot of experience in different spaces, but I actually venture into places. One is, I can't remember exactly what he said, but the gist is, if you are offered an amazing opportunity and you don't know how to do it, but you're confident enough you can find an answer, you have to take it. And you go and find the right people that can help you to realize that dream. That's one theory that he was talked about, and he's been very successful. I mean, you read Richard Branson's background.
Yes.
It's airlines and record labels, record companies, and all the stuff that he's been doing is crazy.
Yeah, he's and not afraid to jump in with both feet and then work your butt off to make it work.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. I mean, that's the true entrepreneur at heart. You don't have to be an amazing and most intelligent person in the region to be able to do that.
Correct.
And the second thing that I feel like I'm struggle to find that balance in life that everybody's been preaching all my life that I've seen was a work-life balance. But for Richard Branson, one thing that he was saying is not about work or life. If you start telling the difference between work and life, then you don't really enjoy what you do. So for him, it's just life. It's for him, it's just living.
Yeah.
So to find a balance when you put your mind into something, whether it's gardening, is also work for some people.
Yes. Yes.
That's relaxing for some. Doing agricultural work or sitting in front of a computer or fixing bikes. If you love doing that, and then you have to find that balance in terms of living. So for him, there's no difference. Rather than I'm differentiate myself between work and life. That's make it really hard for all of us. And for me, being an entrepreneur at heart, it resonates with me. Wow. And I'm always drawn towards that.
That's cool. So now you're the CEO of Forbes Vietnam, and this is obviously a different industry than what you've been working in before. What kind of advice would you give somebody that's starting, maybe they're in college and they're getting ready to have a career in media? What kind of advice would you give them?
Forbes is a new baby. Just a bit background. I bought Forbes Vietnam, the license itself for Vietnam territory in late 2020. So okay. I signed the agreement on Christmas Eve of 2020.
Okay.
In the midst of the Corona pandemic, and we hope to see the future is exciting. I'm a newbie into this space, but I took Richard Branson's advice. It's like, this is an amazing opportunity. It's one of the biggest media companies in the US, has a really good brand. We have an opportunity to tell that story about Vietnam, the current economy, what it's been doing, and representing the new Vietnam, which is a very young country and a lot of young people, a lot of ambitious people. So if I get an opportunity to tell that story with the world, this is an amazing opportunity. Now, I don't know anything about media. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't know how to run the business. I know enough to be able to put my thoughts together, put a plan together, and get the people who are actually very smart and talented and experienced in that space to help me to realize what my vision is. So I guess 7 months in this career, lots of exciting stuff, lots of interesting stuff to learn. One bit of advice that I could share today is media is not the place to make money. So anybody that can come in and run Forbes or Bloomberg or any major media conglomerate is not about money.
There's no doubt that you find the right people to do the things that you're not quite sure about, but you have the vision and you have the direction to lead those people and let them do what they're good at, and it's what will drive a successful business. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. You don't have to know everything.
That's right.
You have to be thoughtful and educated enough and willing to take the risk and understanding that outcome of the risk. But if we're taking risks blindly, and it's just really terrible.
Yeah.
So our ability to take risks and then risk tolerance is about, do I understand that risk? And am I willing to suffer if I see that path, or I'm going to win? Yeah. So for college students or people who are thinking about venturing in this space, whether being an entrepreneur or creating a new product in this media space, I think it's a very crowded space in Vietnam. I'm just speaking for Vietnam for a second. The market in Vietnam, there are a lot of people competing for eyes and views and visits and all that. So you have to find your identity. Otherwise, you are racing down the path of price and volumes, just like any business, going down to the rat race of price. That's not very exciting. So having Forbes is amazing, but Forbes has a very different experience and an identity in the US. So how do I make Forbes become more relevant with the market in Vietnam is a challenge. So whether it's Forbes or it's completely brand new identity that anybody wants to get into this space in Vietnam, that product or that brand has its own identity, the story, the voice, to be able to offer something completely different than the crowded space in this industry in Vietnam. It starts with value and quality, and then volume, respect, views will come.
Finding your niche and then being able to do a good job in your niche is, I think that's what we do in the motorcycle business, and that's what you're doing now in media business, doing your best, but you got to find out, who your people are and then how to reach them and how to talk to them directly. Yeah, it's pretty hard to just broadcast out to the general masses. You'll get washed up pretty quick. So
exactly.
When did you start riding motorcycles?
It's fairly new. I moved back to Vietnam from the States almost 4 years ago. And I think within the first year, just getting to know the landscape here and started seeing more of brands like Triumph, Harley on the street. They stand out here in Vietnam. Big motorcycles,
For sure.
beautifully designed. They stand out, and it's also loud, so it creates more
Yes.
attention.
Yeah.
Start exploring, looking at things about Christmas time of 2017 or so. So it's almost 4 years for me,
Okay.
and it's been an exciting journey just to learn about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fairly new.
So you started riding pretty later in your career of riding. I'm sure you rode a lot of scooters before, when you lived in Vietnam many years ago. That's the beauty of a two-wheel culture here. Everybody already is on two wheels to begin with. And so transitioning to a larger motorcycle is pretty simple. In Vietnam, where do you like to ride? Like, tell me your favorite ride in Vietnam.
I haven't done a lot of rides in Vietnam, but I think I participated in a couple of events that organized by the team at Triumph or Holly and some friends. I think the most beautiful, the most scenic ride that I did was from here, Ho Chi Minh City, to Quy Nhơn, central Vietnam, further north, that's
Yeah,
central
in
Vietnam.
the beach. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I'd never seen Vietnam in that view before. I left the country 20 years ago, and I've been back, and this is surprisingly, I have never been there. Flying from Ho Chi Minh City to Da Nang, which is the central, beautiful beach area, and then or flying directly to Hanoi, you skip all the things that you
Yes.
could enjoy along the way. Not even cars, because the roads that the team at Triumph took me, it was amazing. It was amazing to do that short break, the short ride, and then break, and then there's no rush to arrive to a destination. It was
Yes.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's the
Quy
fun.
Nhơn is a place that I really love. I mean,
Ah,
that's
that's
I've never
awesome.
been there until that time. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great ride for
since
sure.
since then, I took my family there for vacation. My
Right on.
siblings, my nieces and nephew. I took a whole 20 people to go on vacation in Quy Nhơn during that of last
uh,
year before
that's awesome.
the COVID-19. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great. It is fun, especially to get out and ride on the beach roads. There's no highways for us to ride on big motorcycles, so there are secondary roads. Generally, the roads are really nice in that area. They're excellent, and it's a fun ride for sure. So now you bought a Triumph from me, and then recently you purchased a Street Bob from me. So why'd you choose the Street Bob?
Go back to when I first started with motorcycle. I don't know much about motorcycle. I'm drawn towards design and beauty. I love classic motorcycle. I grew up in Vietnam. I've seen the Japanese inspired classic design, all the stuff, but I didn't know it actually came from the, the inspiration of Triumph, which is
Sure.
very classic. So I bought the first one is the Bonneville, as classic as it gets. Beautiful machine. I enjoyed it very much. And then just a couple of months riding it, I switched to a Triumph Bobber, also a different personality, and I started to like the Bobber more. After that, I feel like 1200cc is not enough. But one,
True
it was an
American style
intention.
there.
Yes, one of your guys, can't remember who, told me that oh, you can buy any motorcycle, but eventually everybody would end up with a Harley, because it's like faith that you can go anywhere you want. You can always come back to this
Yes,
because it's
yes, yes.
an iconic thing. One rainy day, I wasn't thinking. I was just driving around, and I saw the dealership in downtown Ho Chi Minh City, in Phu Nhang district, and I just pulled over and stopped by, and I saw this beautiful Street Bob. I didn't look at Harley as much in the past. I thought it was, it's different experience because I like the classic design look and all the stuff. But Street Bob actually is very beautifully designed. When I look at it, it's like I read a little bit more about it. It's just like a classic stripped down to the bare minimal, the essence of the vehicles that during World War II that soldiers was carrying, rifle and
Yes, yes.
ammunition boxes and all that stuff. So now it became a thing that is fitting to a pop culture. The Street Bob that I have is beautifully designed. It's very simple. It's and I'm a short guy, so I can put my foot down. I can control it. The machine is a beauty. Almost 1800cc, nice torque. It's just like the whole overall experience of that is just like let me able to enjoy the ride by itself.
Oh, that's great.
It's perfect. So.
Okay, so tell me about what's important to you in the sales process. So you went to the dealership, walk me through your customer's eyes. What are you looking for? And you're experienced in many industries. You bought lots of cars. What are you looking for in the sales process?
I brought enterprise rent a car here. I bought cars for business purpose, so I have different views, right? So when I bought motorcycles, it's different views because I
Yes.
came in there with a mindset of one, I don't know much about it from a technical perspective. Two, I know the style that I like. I know the design that I like. As I enter the showroom, I would love to be educated on my actual needs, on my experience. So people, I can gravitate towards a certain design and I go there, but I would love to be educated on the experience of itself because some of the machines are designed for a very specific experience. And for those who, especially in Vietnam, is fairly new to that, the culture of a road trip on these big bikes are quite new and also on the rise. Middle class is rising, people making more money, and you don't see a lot of people doing road trips here on these nice bikes. People don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but with that, just like me and others, they're very busy and they don't have a lot of time to go and research all sort of experiences. So for me, first thing first is the staff, which your staff has been very helpful and educated on that to help me to understand what style would fit into a certain experience. So, well, then you don't buy one, you just buy multiple.
Yes.
So help me explaining the experience. What am I using it for? Am I riding around the city? I'm doing a road trip or I'm doing a mid-range trip. So all the experience is really important to me because I don't want to deal with research and buying the vehicles that I spend 3 days doing a road trip and my back is hurt like hell. So
Yes,
sorry,
exactly.
pardon my language. That is important for me. And the other part is the post-sales experience. So after I purchase the vehicle, I don't ride every day. I don't ride every week either. I mean, I would love to be able to do that. In Vietnam, there's raining seasons and there's season that we're really busy and all that. The experience that after sales on events, phenomenal. I mean, organizing these trips with people, helping them to understand the stops and the sceneries that they're going to go through, amazing. But even before that, my bikes is just sit there all the time. I go out and do that, but I don't have time to go and explore what can be done more to the bike. So I think what I'm looking for from a customer experience is for the team after sales to be able to interact with me and say, hey, I'll invite you. It's been 6 months and he hasn't brought in his bike. I'll do a free checkup for you. So come in and have a conversation with me and say, what you've been riding, and did you take a trip? You do this and that. How was your experience? What did it feel like on this bike? And then sell me on how to make that ride better in the future. Because I don't know what's available out there to make it better until I got on a bike and ride for hours and days. And then I go back and I say, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. But I have to do research to know what to do. It's all about trust, right? We talk to a live human beings and the dealership that we talk to, we buy from, we trust each other. They create better experience for us. And also they design the trip. They design all this stuff. So that helps me to not think and have better experience.
Yeah,
so that's what I would expect. Yeah.
There's no doubt there's a big difference between the customer that's retired and the customer that's in the middle of building a business or multiple businesses. Some guys have it and some guys just don't have it. So, for us to realize what kind of person we're talking to, what our customers' needs are, and then tailor our customer service towards that person, that's great insight. I really appreciate your insight as a customer and the things that us dealers, power sports dealers, can do to make things better. And I really appreciate you for taking your time to spend with us today, go over those things. I think that you're a pretty amazing guy, and it's fun to be able to do events with you, go on rides with you. And again, thank you very much for taking your time with me, Cuong.
Well, thank you, David. We've yet to do a trip together, so I'd love to explore the next time when social distancing or semi-lockdown is lifted. I'd love to be able to have an opportunity to hit the road and ride free.
Well,
so
hopefully at least by Christmas, we'll be able to do the Christmas ride. That's one of the largest events, probably the largest motorcycle event in Vietnam. I'll make sure you go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Right.
I'm sorry I missed it last year with a charity event that you went to. It's beautiful things that you guys have been doing.
It's awesome.
It's meaningful to the community.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, you'll be there. I'll make sure of it. All right. Thanks again, Cuong.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you for watching my interview with Mr. Cuong Dang. He definitely has an entrepreneurial spirit, and he had great insight on what we need to do to help a customer that doesn't have a lot of free time, and also the importance of qualifying the customer right from the beginning to make sure that he gets the bike that he needs. Now, I've left Cuong's information in the description box below. Feel free to reach out to him. Thanks again.